Okay, I'm here at Interop with Joe Weinman from AT&T. How are you, Joe?
Great.
So, Joe, what do you do for AT&T?
Strategy and business development for AT&T Business Solutions, which is part of AT&T that sells to everything from SMBs to large global multinational enterprises.
And what's your involvement with the cloud? You just actually got through moderating a panel on the cloud here at Interop.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot with the cloud lately because really if you look at AT&T's evolving strategy, it involves a mix of both managed endpoints, of course a variety of network services, as well as a variety of services in the cloud ranging from infrastructure services like Synaptic Hosting, Synaptic Storage as a Service, Synaptic Compute as a Service, which we just announced earlier this week, all the way up through a variety of SaaS applications ranging from unified communications and collaboration, all the way through perhaps what may surprise you, things like SAP, Oracle eBusiness Suite, Oracle Financial, SQL, JD Edwards, so everything from infrastructure all the way up through SaaS, and in SaaS everything from industry functionality through more horizontal UC&C capabilities.
Very cool. So what about right in the middle? Platform as a service? Are you offering developer services as well?
Yes, we actually have tens of thousands of developers on our existing platform as a service capability, which is largely targeted to primarily mobile enterprise applications. And so some of the things that we can do include exposing services like I want to SMS some list of people, which might be several thousand people, or I may want to code an enterprise application once, and from that target lots of different endpoints like Blackberries and Windows mobile devices and so forth.
What would they be coding in? What language do they use for the mobile space?
Well, it varies. So either you would use the specific SDK, or in this case, you actually start with something like an Eclipse development framework, and then from there we automatically generate code for the targets. But the really interesting thing about what AT&T has put together is I don't think anyone else in this space has this mix of a broad variety of endpoints that includes iPhones, Blackberries, Windows mobile devices, but include netbooks, laptops with air cards, all the way up through telepresence rooms from the AT&T telepresence solution. So that's a broad variety of user devices. We're doing a lot with non-user devices, for example, sensor networks for, let's say, smart meters or smart grids for the electric utilities. And of course, we come from a heritage of things like managed routers and managed premises firewalls, but increasingly those devices actually are now full range systems like enterprise storage arrays and various types of servers that we can manage remotely, or perhaps more interestingly, tie in across a variety of network services to our cloud services. So one of the big, I think, myths out there around what the cloud is about is this notion that I have a browser and I use the internet to access some service in the cloud. That's certainly true for things like webmail and a variety of SaaS applications, but first of all, those applications are now multimedia. I've got voice data and video applications, which could include things like click-to-dial, or could be video bridging, for example, multi-point conference bridging, bringing together multiple types of video endpoints, doing the transrating and transcoding that's required therein. So all of that stuff is really in the cloud, and it isn't just computing, and it isn't just quote-unquote software as a service. So from an infrastructure perspective, to run those applications, what we're finding is that the optimal mix is probably not pure cloud or pure enterprise, but a mix of some resources that are in the enterprise that are then tied to some resources that are in the cloud. And a couple of scenarios probably illustrate that well. One is the cloud bursting scenario, where I handle a lot of my baseline demand in the enterprise data center. Then as my demand grows, what I do is I scale that out, and my scale out capability arises through elastic capacity now in the cloud. So to do that effectively, including managing the data, doing it securely, requires not the internet, not even SSL VPNs, but requires MPLS VPNs for class of service, as well as security, as well as fast reroute, and even optical transport technologies, pure fiber channel, FICON, SCON, FCOE, you name it, to be able to tie data which might be in the enterprise data center with servers that may be accessing that data that may be highly transactional that are in the cloud. Another good example is what I call the front-end, back-end architecture that says, on the one hand, I have my back-end, which may be legacy applications, tightly coupled enterprise applications, etc., that I want to keep in my enterprise data center, but I want to complement that with distributed, scalable, geographically dispersed resources in the cloud that really bring the processing and the content and the streams much closer to where that end user is. So it isn't just your, legacy content delivery networks, but this mix of content delivery to bring content to the edge, application delivery to bring cloud-based compute as a service to the edge, coupling that even with traditional colo or managed server, depending on the enterprise's specific needs. And, by the way, using a variety of content delivery technologies, which include not just having servers out at the edge, which we do through our content delivery services, either public or private, but leveraging things like VPN multicast services to very efficiently and cost effectively take a live, let's say, high bandwidth video stream from a leader who's trying to do policy deployment or analyst communications or whatever to a global audience, do that effectively actually at the network layer. So it's a mix of all of these services that say, I have the enterprise with servers and storage up through a variety of user endpoints, which may be mobile or nomadic, a variety of network technologies, which include optical transport, MPLS VPNs, and of course the open public internet, extranets, IP VPNs, variety of access technologies, which can include wireline, 3G, which is rapidly migrating to 4G, and certainly Wi-Fi, where, for example, we have over 100,000 access points globally. Using all of that together with things like global load balancers to then tie to our cloud services, which are deployed in 38 internet data centers globally. So our footprint includes the U.S., the Americas, EMEA, and the Asia Pacific very broadly. We've got 4 data centers in Japan, we've got 3 in Shanghai, we've got 1 in Hong Kong, we've got Singapore, Bangalore, Sydney. So it's a pretty good global footprint that reaches where the global economy is of supply chain partners, customers, mobile employees, and so forth.
Excellent. So you've got quite a smorgasbord there. All right, Joe Weinman, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.